Hi everyone and welcome to Club 4 episode 8 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we are in an interesting situation. We've got the second leg of a knockout game in the Europa League today against Young Boys of Switzerland, I believe, aren't they? I think so. And we are closing in inch by inch on Liverpool in the Premier League. You can see up in the top right hand corner here, we currently sit second, as we have done for a long time, quite a way ahead of Derby and then even more against Arsenal. But the gap between us and Liverpool, which has been up to about 14 points most recently, is now down to 9 points. Is that not 8 points? Sorry, 8 points. I can't even count. 8 points. We are gradually inching closer to them, and it's more because there's for two reasons. One, our form has been excellent since the loss against United in the last episode. We've been on a good run of form. We've been through the FA Cup against Middlesbrough. We got a good win in the first leg of this particular tie against Young Boys, and we got 3 really good wins in the Premier League. And just at that point, Liverpool's form has just dipped slightly. If we go and have a look at this run that they had through the most part of the season. But just in the last few weeks, excuse me, the pressure has just begun to show a little bit. Now, they got a 5-5 draw in the Champions League against Barcelona, but they went through because of a 1-0 win in the first leg. But they lost to Tottenham 1-0. They lost to Leeds 1-0. They drew against Fulham 1-1. And their form is just becoming a little bit patchy. And they've got a double header now against Chelsea. One in the quarter-final of the FA Cup and one in the Premier League, back to back. So if Chelsea could continue that rot a little bit and just put the doubt into them, who knows what's going to happen in the next few games. I'm not making any promises at this point. I think it's going to be possibly too far for us to get to them, but we're going to give it a good go. But that's for the next episode or so. For today, it's all about this second leg in the Europa League second knockout round against Young Boys. A good first leg win, 5-2. You can see that we got a bucket load of goals. We played very well, 32 shots at goal, 13 on target. It was fantastic. So yeah, all said and done, I'm really happy with that performance. Now, just before we go in to play the game, the only other thing that I need to tell you about is you'll notice in the last couple of games, our scoring has gone through the roof and we've let a couple of goals in, either in both games as well. And that's all come about at the point where we've changed our tactics slightly. We are winning, but we are conceding a little bit too. But here we are. Now, there's a whole reason for this, but what I discovered was that we were mostly playing the Gegenpress, which is a high-octane, high-impact, high-pressing game. And we were being reasonably successful with it. You've seen in the schedule that we've won most of our games. We had a bad patch there for a while, but it's been not too bad. But what I would say is that all the way through it, I've just kind of got the feeling that we haven't ever found a way to really kind of dominate games and really kind of insert our dominance onto other sides, which has been a bit of a problem. We are Manchester City. We are an exceptionally good team, and we haven't quite shown that. And so I took the time to look through the tactic, look through the players that we have, look through what their preferred options are in various aspects. And to be honest, we were just not playing the right style of football. That's as simple as, and that's my bad. It was being successful, but I think we can be more successful. And the gap between us and Liverpool demonstrates that. So in response to that, I've spent the last few games watching the games in full and trying to figure out how we best play and how we don't play so well, etc. So what conclusions did I come to? Well, the back four is basically fine, but I have switched Romario in basically full-time over Sir Greg Gray just at this point. And the main reason for that, although Greg Gray is playing perfectly well, is that I wanted that pace at the back a little bit more than he was offering. 13 was not quite enough for me. And if you look at Romario, most of the rest of his attributes are on par with Greg Gray, and then he's got 16 of pace. And I just needed a little bit more pace at the back for playing a little bit of a different style. In terms of the style that we've got, you can see that we've got a bit of a higher line, and we're pushing up the play a little bit, just in that sense of the tactics. So that's why I wanted him at the back, but not a lot else has changed within this sort of 5-person setup at the back, the goalkeeper and the 4 defenders. In terms of the playing roles, they haven't changed a great deal either. But we've gone back into this asymmetric formation. Previously with Derby, we were playing the controlled possession. It was quite slow. It was quite methodical. And that wasn't Man City either. And that's why it was struggling when I was playing it before. And the gegenpress was too much high-octane running about for a team that didn't quite have the stamina. If we go and look at Foden, for example, 13 stamina, 13 work rate. It's not high enough to go and play the gegenpress style. Malt is not a good one to look at. Vasek at the top of the pitch, 15 stamina, 13 work rate. And I just kind of got the feeling that this side weren't built for it necessarily. If we go to Olart, stamina 11, work rate 9 down the wings, and Ulysses down the left-hand side again, 13 stamina, 11 work rate. This is not a side that should be charging about all over the place trying to use the gegenpress. So what did we change? Well, we changed both aspects of that. Then we've reduced the pressing game, but we've increased the higher passing speed. Sorry, I couldn't think of my words there. So we've gone shorter passing in terms of its directness, but higher tempo to play in the vertical tiki-taka. This became a vertical tiki-taka. Did we change it to the tiki-taka? I guess we did. But we're just trying to keep the ball, move it quickly, find our runners down the sides of the pitch, etc. Get some crosses in, work it through the centre if that's the way we choose to go through to Foden, and he can work his magic from there. There's lots of routes through, but it's just a different style of getting it through, and the intensity of it now isn't so much driven by the amount of running that they do to close down the ball. We will sit a little in a shape rather than go and chase them too much. We still do it a little bit. If you look at out of possession, we've got a slightly more urgent pressing intensity, but not a huge one. And we're trying to play the offside trap with a higher line. If we go and have a look at Rivero, for example, you can see that his decision making is 17, his anticipation is 17, and so he's going to be a good player for playing that offside trap. Decisions of 16, anticipation of 15 for Romario. So good 2 central defenders to play the offside trap. That's the way it's going to work. And because of that, the last thing that I am going to do is I am going to switch it up and play both on the defensive option rather than the covering option, in terms of moving this defence up and down for the offside trap. So that's what we've done. We've changed the style of play in terms of the passing and how that's going to work. We've changed the style of play in terms of the intensity of the press that we use, and so far, it's provided a much more interesting game, lots of goals. We have been a little bit defensively lax occasionally, but we're still getting used to a new system. So that's what I've done. The familiarity, you can see, isn't quite up at the top yet, but we will get there. Absolutely, we will with it. So there you go. That's the change that we've made, and so far it's worked very nicely. And I just got to the feeling that we just weren't playing the right style for who we've got, and it was time to change it, so I did. So all of that means that today we get a game against Young Boys to play in the Europa League, second leg of our game against them. So with a clear advantage, we're going to play the first team though, just to keep the momentum of the recent results going forward. I think it's really important going into the league, keeping that moving forward as we can. So we're going to continue to play the top team as much as we can. There is a couple of issues. Jay Collins is out with an injury, but he would have only made the bench at the most anyway. McCann's just coming back from one. a knock, but he's okay. But in general, it's a fairly fit squad. So we have Romero in goal, Rivero and Romario in central defence, the 3 R's. Magnoni on the right side of defence, Cruz at left back, Camavinga, Malt and Foden in central midfield, with Olart on the right, Ulysses on the left, and Vasic up top with a bench of Cork, Jackson, Victor, McCann, Villegas, Cesar, and Gibbons. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So, given our recent run and given the state of this particular match after the first leg, I've told them to, in no uncertain terms, I expect you to win this and go through with no problems whatsoever. And I do expect it at home against a side that are not as good as we are, basically. We need to dominate the match, improve confidence, hopefully keep a clean sheet. None of the goals that we've let in most recently, if you remember back to the last episode, as Cruz goes through and gets an early goal, our left back on a mazy run into the box and pokes it home into that bottom left-hand corner. In the last episode against United, our goalkeeper, Romero, made a mistake early on in his Man City career as we just brought him in. It was a bit disappointing. Since then, we have let some goals in, but I wouldn't suggest that it was his fault specifically. He's done okay. I think it was just a bit of an issue with getting used to playing with the defence that he's got, and there were some other errors in there, etc. And the change of tactic has reshaped it a bit as well, so we're getting used to that. But he's done pretty well, and we've taken a very early lead, but lose the ball there to Young Boys, and they counter-attack on us very quickly. But we regain our shape, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of the pressing game. We've got a little bit of a press on at times, but we're regaining the shape and sitting and just holding position a little bit and trying to use the offside trap if they go over the top. And it's working fairly well for us, I would suggest. And there was a good ball out to Magnoni from the goalkeeper onto the wide right-hand side, runs down the touchline all the way to the penalty box of Young Boys, and then slows it up a bit too much. Instead of getting the ball in, takes the time, but there's really worked a good bit of space there. There's the cross in, and it was a good cross by Olart in the end, and Vasic at the near post sticks out that right leg round the defender, gets the contact first, and puts it home for a 2-0 lead. And we haven't even reached 5 minutes yet. This is a much more Man City style of play that I wanted to see from my side. It just took me a while to bed myself in, understand the players, understand where we were working well and where we weren't. And now this is the result of it. So I would really, it's just one of those good things of being able to change a tactic around, not be afraid to do it. Check out what's going on, work with what you've got and see what works best for them. And so far, it's producing a lot more goals, which we need to do because Liverpool's goal difference this season is hugely better than ours. So next season, when we go again, if we don't get sacked for not winning the league, if we go again, then hopefully that'll help us stay with them in terms of goal difference and points as well. So that's another reason to do it. Anyway, enough about the tactic, because you can see it working. We've got Olart down the right-hand side again. Crosses in again, and Ulysses with his right foot on this near post as we look at it, narrowly wide. Magnoni cuts inside onto Foden, back to Camavinga, working the ball really nicely. There's the tiki-taka movement of the ball. Lots of short, sharp passes, which is good to see. Making the Young Boys run after the ball, which is good. That's what we want. We want to wear them down with the passing of the ball, not wear ourselves down with the chasing of the ball. That's the difference in the tactic. There's a slightly longer ball over the top though. Ulysses picks it out, and what a fantastic goal that was. A lovely ball over the top. Ulysses in plenty of space. Again, they're not defending well at the back, and he takes his time and picks out the top corner, and it was a fantastically good shot. Lovely ball over the top, takes it out from his feet, right-footed into that far top corner, and we go 3-0 up after 16 minutes. And I knew that this was going to be a fairly easy win for us in theory, on paper, but we are playing really well with it, and that's really good to see in just figuring out the momentum and the motivation to keep going for the rest of this season. We've got a lot more tricky ties to come in this particular competition, and there is a fourth and a second from our left back. He's a really good left back, and now he's got the freedom to encroach on the play a little bit as a wide option, as we have changed the setup slightly. He's showing how good he really is as an attacking option as well as a defensive one. And that was a lovely strike. But again, young boys are sitting too far off us, giving us too much space, and we are making them pay for it. And again, we've got a highlight down the right-hand side, and the cross doesn't come in, but they work it across the penalty box and then back again to the right-hand side, and we take the time. That's, we're not trying to rush the play. We've got a decent speed about our passing, but it's not rushed. And Cruz into Ulysses, over to the far post, and Olart with the header, and we go 5-0 up after 26 minutes, and this is an absolute demolition. And you've seen in the last couple of results before this, we got like 4 goals and 5 goals. This is how it's been going. We just need to keep the clean sheets and stop them from getting back at us. But today, I don't think we have to worry about that too much. Strap yourselves in. We could be here for some time as we continue to have more highlights. And this time, the header goes over the top of the bar from a fairly straight-on free kick over the top of the defence. A good header, but it went slightly over the top. And look at this, 11 shots, 6 on target, 1 shot, none on for them. And we are absolutely dominant here. And only the goalkeeper, who's not had a touch of the ball, is complacent. Everybody else is confident and assured and enjoying the experience so far. What a fantastic first half of football that was. So we will straight away go in and say passionately, I'm very pleased to keep it going. I don't want them to let up. I want them to keep pushing and keep going and keep gaining the goals and keep gaining the confidence, because we're going to need it as we move forward. Absolutely. It's not all about this particular game. It's about the impact it can have moving forward. And there is another goal from the corner on the far side. A simple header from Vasic. And we go 6-0 up. And this is an absolute breeze. And I'm having a lovely, lovely time. This is what football management should always be like. Yeah, right. Ask me again when we're playing Liverpool later in the season as to whether this is how football should always be or not. Oh dear. 6-0. Really good. So, how are you doing? How's your world? I've got nothing else to say really. There's too many good things happening, not enough bad things happening. It's all going swimmingly. So let's go and make a couple of substitutions and see if we can just maintain some health for a couple of these players moving forward. Got a few yellow cards as well. So Camavinga comes out for yellow card purposes, but also he's really key for us, so he can come out. We are going to take one of these defenders out as well. We'll take Romario out and put Cork in. And then we'll make a more attacking substitution as well. And it's take your pick because they're all playing magnificently well. Which of these players do I want to see the most, I guess is the question. And I think what we'll do is we'll put Cesar down the left-hand side instead of Ulysses. And just get him to play that role for the next 15 minutes. He's a good young talent, Cesar. He pushed Univar out of the side and out of the club, basically. He's going to have a tougher job to do that with Ulysses, but he will get game time because he is still very good and still progressing and developing. And for the last 15 minutes, actually, it went a bit quiet, didn't it, really? We got our 6 goals and decided that was about enough. And we just let the game see it through till the very end with no problems, no goal conceded, which is fantastic. And lots of very high ratings. Cruz, Victor Cruz, player of the match, 2 goals from left fullback. Wonderful performance. So again, passionately we go in. I'm very happy with the performance and the way you played. And let's go out of the match day experience and let's hunt down who we get to play in the next round. So let's go and have a look. Man City received some money. We get Valencia in the next round in the quarterfinals. So here we go. Valencia or against Man City. You can see the likes of Man United are still in there. Bayern Munich are still in there. Lazio, Benfica, Leipzig, Monaco, Napoli, Aberdeen, Hertha. There's some good teams still left to play, and there is a possibility, because I've seen the draw all the way through to the final, we could get a Manchester derby in the final of the Europa League if we both get through. So that's something to watch out for as well as we progress to the last part of the season. But what a fantastic performance, and what a good first showing on an episode for the new way that we play. The players are in their right positions, they're playing in the way that they want to play, and it absolutely demonstrated it against a weak opponent, to be honest. But I think we're going to show that we can do that against most teams moving forward. So there we go. Fantastic performance. We now switch our attention back to the league a little bit. You can see what we've got coming up is we've got Derby County in the league is the game that we're going to come back for. But what we're actually going to come back for is a double header. Valencia in the not in the Champions League, that's hopefully for next season. In the Europa League quarter-final, we'll play Valencia and then we'll play the Derby match as well, and keep completely on both the Europa League and the league as we move forward. And we've also got that quarter-final against Arsenal coming up in the FA Cup as well. So there could be all sorts of matches to play at the end of this season, which is really exciting. And maybe, just maybe, we can continue to eat into this lead that Liverpool have got. There's no guarantees about that. It's been an up and down experience trying to chase them down. But maybe it's possible. Join me next episode and we'll find out where we are up to that point. And we'll play those games against Valencia and against Derby County. Until then, though, thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't and join my United City community. If you haven't clicked a like on the like button, click it for that new tactic and the style of play that we had for today. It's been excellent. That helps to get seen by lots of other people. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.